Hello, everybody. So this is Diane Covington, and I'm here to share with you today on building confidence with closing the team member. Now, last week we talked about how to share the Mary Kay story, whether you share a little bit, maybe layer a video. We talked about make it relatable. So if she has 5 kids and you're single, maybe you show her a video of Marnie who's got 7 kids, or maybe if this gal came from another country and she's here first generation, there's other videos of successful people because they will relate to someone else's story potentially. So we talked about that, but this week I want to talk about how do you build confidence in closing the team member? What we want to do is we want to get down to the thing where you're like, do you want to join my team? And all you want them to do is go, of course I do. And then you can go, wow, I'm so excited. And you get excited. Well, let's back that up a little bit. And first of all, let's talk about our energy and how we go into this. Now, some of you have studied the DISC profile, and I will tell you, this is one of those instances where if you ask me, the DISC personality profiling is key. And we're actually going to do a class on that in a couple weeks. But DISC, dominant, influencing, steadiness, and compliance. And I know there's some other words that kind of go with those letters that are, influencer or whatever. But those are basically, and so I have an old sheet from the company. It's old, that says if you're this and you meet with another, like if I'm an I and a D, my I is the highest, my D is like slightly under my I. So I'm kind of an ID tied. When I'm with another D, how do I come across? When I'm with another I, how do I come across? When I'm with an S personality, how do I come across? And when I'm with a C. So to me, that is gold. For me to have, so when I'm with an S steadiness person, I need to slow my speech down. I tone down my energy. I'm not me. I am me. I am who I am. But you want to meet them where they are. Now, the people, honestly, easiest to recruit are people with your personality. So if you could just recruit everybody with D and an I, that'd be great. But they might be an off the chart D. There's many people you probably know who have got a lot of D in them and maybe not a lot of I, S, or C. And so for them, they might come across abrupt. They might come across as cold and calculating, but I know some very high Ds that have a heart of gold. They have every intention of having a heart of gold. And they're caring and all of those things, but they can be read wrong. Okay. And the I's sometimes can be, oh, they're just flighty. They're just like, woo, I want to have fun. And they just want to win a prize. Well, I do that sometimes, but I'm also need to pay my bills. I have 3 houses. This is a business for me. And so those all impact. So if that's a form that you want, I'm going to find it digitally on my computer in the next couple of days, and I will make sure that I post that either on YouTube or somewhere so that you guys can have that. But let's talk another thing about how to build your confidence when closing a team member. So first of all, grab a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a couple ideas. So how many of you guys would agree when you do it, maybe the first couple of times you get a little nervous? So when you are planting the seed, let's say I'm having a one-on-one facial with April, and I don't know April, maybe she put her name in a facial box. And so I go to her house. I don't really know her other than her name. And I might know that she's got kids if I hear kids playing in the background, but I don't know a thing about her. So when I get there and I start setting up, I say, April, I'm so glad that we are getting together for pampering. While I'm setting up, tell me about you. Tell me what your life looks like. Tell me like, tell me everything. And she'll say, oh my gosh, well, I've lived in the Bay Area my whole life. And I have a really, really big family. And all my brothers and sisters live nearby. And I'm really well connected. I'm very involved in church. And so I'm taking notes. Now, if I'm setting up, I can't literally take notes, but I'm taking mental notes and ideally take paper notes. I might write big family, lived here my whole life. Anytime I use her exact words, I always put them in air quotes. And that's really important when you go to close a recruit. So if she says, I'm super busy, I'm going to write the word super busy in quotes. If she says, so she's going to go on and tell me what her life looks like. And I'm going to say, wow. And I'd say, okay, so I'm curious, how much do you know about Mary Kay? And she might say, well, I know it's out of Dallas, Texas, and I know it's been around a long time. My mom used it. My grandmother used it. I hear it's a good product. I said, okay, is there anything else you know about either the person or the product line? No, not really. I'm too busy to pay attention to that stuff. And I might say, okay. I'd say, well, you know what, April, this might sound kind of silly, but I'm actually looking for young moms. And so I'd love you to watch what I do. And I don't know if you're looking for extra cash. I have no idea if you're looking for self-development, personal growth. I have no idea because we just met. But I would like you to watch what I do. And I'm curious to have you maybe ask me a few questions. It also helps me become better skilled and more confident in sharing the information. So any questions, if you ask me product questions, it builds my confidence. If you ask me company questions, it builds my confidence. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate you in feel free to ask me as many questions as you want. She'll go, okay. When you throw that out there and you invite them to ask you questions, it allows their brain to think, well, what would I want to know if I was curious, right? So then when we get to the I story part, that's when I actually go in and I will share usually 3 sentences, past, present, future. And I learned that from National Retired Emeritus National Thea Elvin. Past would be, I joined when I was in college just to get the wholesale discount because I couldn't afford Mary Kay. At that point, if I'm just about to facial, I don't usually say 50%. I know some people do, totally up to you. But I'd say to April, I joined to get it at wholesale because honestly, I was broke living on top ramen, so I couldn't afford it. The reason I have stayed in for 30 years or 2 years or however long you've been in, is whatever it is for you. For me, it's freedom, flexibility, and personal growth. I am not the woman today that I was 5 years ago, 15 years ago, definitely 30 years ago. I could never have talked in front of a group of more than 2 people. And in fact, I tried really hard, April, when I first joined Mary Kay, not to do appointments like you and I are doing one-on-one, because then you're going to talk to me. And I was so shy. I didn't want you to talk to me. So I would give you anything to invite a girlfriend. Because if you brought a girlfriend, you talk to her instead of me. And so again, what I'm doing is I am literally, it's almost like taking a doctor's bag and dumping the doctor's bag on the thing. I've got blood pressure. I've got a stethoscope. I've got that little rubber thing that whacks you in the knee to see if you have reflexes. I've got a tongue depressor. I've got thermometers. Like I've got all this stuff and I'm going to your house. I have no idea why you called me. So I don't know what tool in my box you need. Does that make sense? So Mary Kay is just like that. So one of the things, in case you get nervous, I'm going to ask you to write down is, and some of you I know are old school, you're going to laugh at this, but it's the acronym Mrs. CAB. So just write down MRSCAB. And I'm just going to give you a very condensed version of this. M is for money. R is for recognition, prizes. S is for self-esteem, self-confidence, personal growth, that kind of thing. I added another letter, F. I do Mrs. FCAB. F stands for friends, friends and fun. Then the CAB stands for cars. You can get a car in Mary Kay. A is advantages, and advantages are setting your own hours, tax advantages, getting your products at wholesale, like all the advantages to be a consultant, that being a part of the Mary Kay family, the culture, all of that. And B is being your own boss. Oh, another advantage is faith first, family second, career third, because for a lot of women that are faith-based, that's important to them. And then, of course, B stands for being your own boss. So sometimes depending on how things go between April and I, I'm facialing her and she's asking me questions. And so I might just throw some things out to her and see what sticks. But what I'll usually do is I layer information. Now, I have signed up people on the spot. Most of the time, though, I leave there and give them information, say, is it okay if I call you tomorrow, or could we meet for coffee tomorrow morning? Now, if it is just a one-on-one facial with April and we're there at her kitchen table and she's thinking about buying the miracle set and satin hands and satin lips and the microderm, and she's rattled off this list of $300 or $400 worth of product and then says, well, I want to get stuff for Christmas too, that I'm probably going to say to her, well, April, you have a couple options. One is I'm happy to take care of you. You could be my customer for life. Second thing is you could be a hostess. You could invite 3 to 6 of your girlfriends over and I'll give you a half off shopping spree. Or you could have a half off shopping spree forever. Be a part of the Mary Kay culture where there's a lot of personal growth, self-esteem, all of that. So are you curious? So what I try to do is, you guys have heard me do this analogy all the time. It's like giving them a bite of a Girl Scout cookie of a Thin Mint, little baby piece of Thin Mint cookie, and then you walk away with the box. Well, if you've ever tasted a Thin Mint Girl Scout cookie, you will chase the person who has the box. Even though I don't do cookies, I would for that, right? So what I'm trying to do is, without knowing April very well, I'm trying to figure out what's her hot button. Because if I can help her identify a hot button, she's more likely to want to join. If she says, I love my life, I don't need money, I am not into personal growth, I could care less about a discount, like everything that I bring up to her, she could care less about, I could offer her my pink Cadillac and she's not going to sign. But I've always had this philosophy, and again, I know you guys have heard me say this a million times, I don't chase people, people chase me. So I want her to chase me. So I might say, well, April, actually, can you do me a favor? Will you flip over your profile card and see that little box on the left side, that little square area? And I'm referring to, grab a profile card. Let's go, good enough. This area right here, I think where it says for new consult for the beauty consultants use only. That's okay. I want her to be a beauty consultant. So I'll say to her, do me a favor. I'm just going to give you 6 words, and I'm just curious if 7 words, and I'm just curious if any of these matter to you. So write down M, or just write down the word money. You don't have to spell out the whole acronym for. And then you could say recognition, which would be prizes and stuff. The next one would be self-esteem and self-confidence, fun and friends, earning a car for your family, tax advantages, and faith first, family second, career third, and the support of a Mary Kay family and coaching. And then the last thing would be your own boss. I'm curious, out of all of those, and one of the advantages, of course, is the discount. At this point, I'm going to tell her what it is. It's going to be a 50% discount. So I'm assuming the 50% discount is one of the ones you'd circle, but maybe not. So I don't want to put that on you, but I'm curious. I always use the word I'm curious. I'm curious, April, which 2 or 3, the most is 3, which 2 or 3 of those would you pick? And let's say April comes back and says, well, money, the 50% discount, and personal growth. Let's say, great. Which of those would be the most important? I'm just trying to figure out what her hot button is. And she'd say, probably the money. I'd say, okay. So let me ask you one last question. If you could give me a dollar amount, like let's say tonight you go out out to the street to the mailbox, and there's an envelope. It's got your name on it. There's no stamp. Somebody dropped off stuff and you rip it open. There's a check in there. And that check was for $500, like no strings attached, or $500 cash. You don't know who it's from. Would that matter to you and your family? Would an extra $500 a month matter to your family? $500 to $600 a month. And she might say, yeah, that would matter. And say, I'm curious, what would you do with it? Well, I would volunteer to pay for all the cell phone bills in the house, and I would also pay for blah, 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 whatever. Or I'd love to get a housekeeper. And say, okay, great. So we'd pay for a housekeeper and the cell phone bill. How would that make you feel to be able to contribute to your family and do that? And she'd say, that would be amazing. Say, well, what if I could show you how very part-time, like I'm talking 3 to 5 hours a week, you could put $600 a month in your pocket? She'd say, well, I would be open to hearing that. Okay. Well, why don't we meet for coffee, or why don't we wait till your facial's over, and then why don't I share some information with you? This might be a perfect fit. Now, it might be a fit for now, but it might be a fit forever. Who knows? So do you see what I do? Is it's like I give it to her, but then I take it away, and I give it to her and I take it away. So that is one way. And by using the acronym Mrs. CAB, Mrs. F, and F is for friends and fun, because I literally have a girlfriend, you won't believe this. She's very successful in the corporate world. But if meetings are not fun, this is where she gets herself in trouble at her company. She doesn't show up. Like if it's going to be like a debriefing or some like a lot of numbers and stuff, she goes, it's not going to be fun. I'm not going. And her boss always says, that's not an option. You need to come, Suzanne, like that. You need to be there. She says, I know, but it's no fun. Like literally friends and fun is her absolute hot button. Like if I did all those with her, the only thing she would circle is friends and fun. She could care less about money, prizes, as long as it's fun. There's literally people out there like that. And there's other people who are the D personalities that say it's about money and how fast can I climb the ladder? Like, what does it take to get a car? What does it take to get your job? I want one of those pink suits. What is that? What do I have to do? So again, you're trying to figure out where she is. Now, if you're the same personality style, you guys might mesh perfectly like this. Chances are you may not be the exact style she is. And so there might be a little bit. What you want to do is you want to make sure, thank you guys for putting comments in the chat. Who said I'm definitely friends and fun? April, love that. So what's kind of, so anyway, so Mrs. Cav is one acronym. The other option would be is, let's say we don't have that much time. Or let's say, again, I'm facialing April one-on-one and I've got her profile card. And I'd say, well, April, I'm just curious. Would it be okay if I shared 4 fun facts with you about Mary Kay, and you write these down and you tell me if any of those matter to you? And she'd say, sure. And I'd say, okay, first fun fact is, I'm gonna write these down as I do them. First fun fact is that we are family owned, debt-free, and made in the United States. So family-owned, debt-free, that's all one thing, debt-free, and the products are made in the USA. Okay, fun fact 2 is we have no quota and no territory. So there's no monthly minimum you have to do, and you can go anywhere in the United States, including Guam and Hawaii. And once you're a director, you can actually build internationally if that's your hot button. You can go to the Philippines, you can go to Europe, you can go to Peru. There's all kinds of countries that are open that you can go and build if that's a passion of yours. That would be fun fact number 2. Fun fact number 3 is we can offer our customers 100% satisfaction guarantee from our company. So let's say, April, you buy that Appleberry lipstick that I have on that you're kind of going, ooh, I like that color. I don't know. I know it doesn't go very well with the pink suit, but just go with me. So let's say, April, that you buy Appleberry, then a month later, you're like, what was I thinking? I can't pull off that red. And so you call me and you say, Diane, I hate to do this to you, but I'm not happy with Appleberry. And I say, April, of course, if you're not happy with it, what other color would you like? I think I'll go back to rosewood. That's more my comfort zone. I'd say, okay. So I go and I swap it out to you. And guess what? Mary Kay replaces that used Appleberry to me at no cost to me. They ship me a brand new one on the honor system. So I can offer my customers 100% satisfaction guarantee. And then the fourth fun fact is there is a lot of personal growth, self-development, and coaching in Mary Kay. So if you're not great at money management, time management, emotional management, you'll get good at it because you will get to learn how to run a small business successfully. And empowered, oh my God, you will feel beyond empowered in doing that. Okay. So of those 4 facts, do any of those matter to you? Now she might bring up and say, well, do you guys animal test? And I say, no, we do not. We were the very first major cosmetic company here in the United States to put a moratorium on animal testing. Or she might go down some rabbit hole on something. So you can come up with your own. Those are just 4 fun facts I share, but you could share any 4 fun facts. What you're trying to do is all have them touch kind of a different thing. The no quota, no territory, advance as fast as you want. That's how I would do that because the D is going to grab that. The D personality is going to say advance as fast as you want. I'm all in. Okay. So those are all different. Hold on one quick second. All right. So those are all kind of some fun facts. So another thing to do is because I want people chasing me, I don't chase people, is I might say to April as we're doing her facial, I say, well, April, tell me about you. And now here's a great tip is if I say, April, tell me about you, and she starts talking about her job and her career and what she does at her corporate job, she's probably got some D in her. If she talks about having fun and she talks about different clubs that she's in, or she has a book club or a bunco group, or those kinds of things, she's got some I in her. If she says to you, well, what do you want to know? She's definitely a C personality because the C personality does not want to give you wrong information or useless information. They want to give you exactly what you want. So if I say, well, April, tell me about you, she goes, well, tell me, what do you want to know? Do you want to know about my family, my work? What do you want to know? So I already know she's got some C in her, right? And the S will say, well, I'm a mom of 3 kids. And I will always start with my kids as well, but that's not necessarily my default always. Does that make sense? Okay. So I ask her to tell me about her. And then I'll say, well, April, here's what we're going to do. Let's say we meet for coffee the next morning. This is the best scenario. We meet for coffee and April doesn't buy. She kind of hems and haws about the micellar water. I don't know if I should get it. I think I'll just wait. And I'll say, I'll tell you what, if you'll meet me for coffee tomorrow and give me 25, 30 minutes max of your time, not only will I buy coffee, but how about if I give you the micellar water as a gift? She goes, seriously? So yeah, just meet me for 20, 30 minutes, no obligation. She goes, okay. And so when I get there, I said, okay, so April, here's what I'm going to do. I want you to tell me more about you. I'll tell you a tiny bit about me and about Mary Kay. And then I'd love you to ask me some questions. Like if you were ever thinking about being an entrepreneur in a million years, what would you want to know? Would you want to know like where the products are made? Now, we might have gone over some of this during her facial, but chances are when I leave her facial, I will probably say to her, I'd love for you to think of at least 4 good questions to ask me tomorrow. But to be honest with you, if it's a one-on-one, I'm going to do the sharing appointment right after her facial. I'm not going to meet her for coffee the next day. Now to skincare class where she's got 5 of her friends there and she's the hostess and she's serving food, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. But I would pull her aside and say, April, could you imagine if you were a new beauty consultant and I gave you all of these women at your table to you as customers? And she'd go, you do that? And say, well, of course, they're your friends and family. They'll buy way more from you than they'll buy from me. So of course, that would be a great start for you. Is if you join Mary Kay, the 5 women that are around your kitchen table, those would be for you. And she'd go, oh. I say, but I don't think I would tell them that your discount's 50%. And she'll go, oh, okay. So those are some things that you can do. I think that you can try the Mrs. Cab thing. Another thing you can do is, this is the last idea I'll share, is I used to carry a bag. It was about as big as a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, and it was like a little black tote. And in there were props. And I would, at a skincare party, I would have like 9 tickets. And I'd say, okay, you get a ticket for the first person who shouts out what you think this represents. I'm looking for a specific word. So like I will pull out a massive rubber band. So I have a huge rubber band. I'll go, hey, you guys, what is this? And they'll go, it's a rubber band. Stretching, and I go, keep going, keep going. Who's going to get the ticket? Someone will finally say flexibility or something like, or and I'll say that's exactly the word I'm looking for. And then I might pull out like a $50 bill or a $20 bill or whatever, and that's to represent, money, income potential. I might put one of my diamond rings from Mary Kay in a little box, or pull out some kind of a prize you've earned. That would represent a prize or recognition. I put a mirror, a small mirror, a little hand mirror in there to represent how we see ourselves, which is personal growth and self-development. I used to have a little golden ruler in mind that was the golden rule. That's the philosophy of our company, is the golden rule. Treat other people like you want to be treated. Faith first, family second, career third. I always put a piece of product in there. Like I would literally throw in like a hand cream or moisturizer. I'd say, this is the whole reason I joined. I didn't want to pay 12 for this. I wanted to pay 6. And so you could literally, it's really fun. Then I'd pull out a bra and people were like, boob job. Like they'd start guessing things. And I'm like, no, you guys. And then I go, what do you think this? And somebody will say support. And I said, exactly. So I used to pull out, these are just what I used to pull out: a rubber band. I would pull out a bra for support. I had a Barbie for flexibility because I would take her legs and bend them up. I'd say, look how flexible she is. Barbie represented flexibility and friends. I pulled out a 1099 that I just printed out. It was like a blank Schedule C is what it was for taxes. And I'd say this represents tax benefits. The mirror was personal growth. I did a little Hot Wheel that was a red at the time, red car that was representing the car you could drive from Mary Kay. But the fun thing about those props, I had about 8 props in there. And as long as they guessed the right word, it basically allowed me to cover the marketing plan while the charcoal mask was drying. So you could also do something like that. So whatever it is, try different things. Maybe at this first one, you do the Mrs. Cab acronym, or maybe you want to just share 4 fun facts. And then you could say to them, well, I've got 4 bonus tickets left. You guys can ask me any question you want about Mary Kay, the company. What would you want to know? And let them ask. And say, actually, I'll take 3 questions and they're worth 2 tickets each. People will kill to get a ticket. They don't even care what they win. They just want more tickets than their friends. All right, you guys, I hope this has been helpful. I hope this will help build your confidence in sharing the career opportunity. And here's the deal. Even if she has said no before, no just means not now. Women marry cases say our situation changes every 30 days. We're either starting a crisis, ending a crisis, or we're in the middle of a crisis. But with that said, there's a place for everybody to win in this company. I joined just to get a discount. I wasn't going to do anything. So when people say they're going to join just for the discount, you can say, oh, you're just like my senior director, or you're just like my director friend, Diane. She joined for the discount, but now she's earned 17 pink Cadillacs. So all I'm saying is they might join for one reason, but they'll stay for a different reason. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.